Okay, so if I'm looking back and forth across screens, like I said, I'm trying to make sure I can talk to all of you at the same time. We're talking a little bit about how these two words basically change how I train my gun dog. And these two words, they're going to be a bit of a shocker to a lot of people. And those two words are state first. And what I mean by state first is we don't always think about what's going on in our dogs' minds, right? We are on a mission to get our thing done and we don't think it all through. So before I go into a little bit, I want you to in the comments so that I know that everybody's working to tell me your dog's breed and their age, right? Pop just the dog's breed and your age in there so I can see what type of dogs we're working with, what ages they are, etc. And we can see what we got going on. If you're joining me live as well, pop in the comments live. If you're joining me on a replay, per replay, and that means I can get around to commenting and answering you all back. Hello, everybody joining me on Instagram. There's loads of you, and on Facebook too. Okay, so today I had to go and see the neurosurgeon for the results of my MRI. Now, I've been going to do this for 16 years. It's never a nice visit. I go in, they say whether my brain tumor has grown a little bit or hasn't. Now, if you don't know me, don't know my story, I'll tell you very, very quickly. In 2010, December, they found a massive brain tumor. A couple of days later, I had a huge operation to get rid of it, and it grew back. And then they took it out again in 2017 and it grew back. So this has been a challenge I've been going on with for quite a while, okay? And the reason I want to talk to you about that with regards to state first is my husband knows there is no point in the world trying to have a serious conversation with me today or a conversation he wants me to remember. He looks at me and knows that my state is not in a place in where I am going to learn or absorb. Okay, he's not trying to teach me tricks, I promise. But what he is trying to do is know that where am I in my thought process, in my mindset, and is that a point, a place where he can have a conversation with me? And if you have known and seen this in your own families, like when they are distracted, like really distracted, they are not going to be in a position where they can take things in. Give me some thumbs up or some yes or some little brains or wherever you want to give me, because our dogs have something very similar too. And by state first, I mean, like, knowing the context. We talked yesterday about calm being a skill, not a personality trait, a state. And this is what we're going to build on top of that today. Okay, so yesterday, after discussing that, I wanted to go a little bit more deeper in this. And we don't talk a lot on here live about my book. We've got a book called The Thoughtful Dog Trainer, and we talk about something called ETRO squared, right? And basically, it's about our environment, our thoughts, our emotions, our responses, and our outcomes. And it's squared because it happens for both you and for your dog. E is environment. Keys, kettles, all the stuff we talked about yesterday, the kids, getting dogs are bred to notice, to move. And if the room shouts action, the dog will follow. And we tend to be able to switch off very quickly. We're very aware of our environment and quite easily available to change states on the majority. Like today, I couldn't change state very easily at all. But on the majority, we can. The dog has to be taught to do that. Just a little bit like we were taught to do it. So remember, we went to school and they were like, don't fidget, sit calmly. All those things were training us to be calm, to switch off, to settle down. And if you think how long our teachers worked with us on getting us to do that right, like, it wasn't a really quick process. But we have pups and we think, right, I need this pup to be really like calm in a few weeks' time. And it's an impossible request for them, okay? Because the environment is lively all the time and they pick up on that. T is for our thoughts. So we tend to think lots of things every single day. We all know that. We tend to think about things like, what are we going to get for dinner? What have we done the washing? All millions and millions of things. Have we sorted out a bill? Have we done this thing for work? Have we booked the car in to have an MOT? We've got all those things going on in our heads. And we know our dogs don't have those thoughts, but they do have thoughts of their own. And sometimes there can be this like miscommunication. We think the dog is doing something on purpose. We touched on this yesterday, and the dog isn't thinking that at all. The dog is self-serving because that's what dogs are. They're very lovely. They spend lots of time with us. They're our best friends. But what they need and what they want tends to be quite high in the pecking order of what they want to do next. They live in the present. They're not thinking, oh, well, I annoyed her with this last week, so I better not do it again. And they're not thinking, oh, in the future, she might not want me to do that. They're very much in the present and they're self-serving and not from a bad place. It's not from a nasty place or an angry place. It's come from a place of they're dogs. That's what they're meant to do. And we tend to misread what they're doing and why they're doing it. And our dogs then can't really read us. They're very good at reading us, but they can't really read us if our thoughts are giving off vibes, for want of a better word, that we are angry, that we are upset, that we aren't feeling really chilled out with them. So they tend to look like, what's happening? What's going on with them? You know, we talk in our group lots about balancing both ends of the lead, making sure that the dog is working in one way and we are working with them. So we've gone through our emotion, we've gone through our thoughts, and then, we've gone through the environment, we've gone through our thoughts, but then we've got to get to our emotions. Our emotions can be read on us or not read on us. And what I mean by that is if I'm like really, really stressed, like today, you could probably pick up my emotional feelings, like a bit of a tight chest, a bit of a shallow breathing, didn't look like really myself, or didn't look relaxed in the environment I was in. And emotional contagion is real. The dog can see that in us and they can pick up on it and they tend to map their state to ours a lot. So if you have been around your dog and you've been really wound up and upset, like give me some little tears or sad faces or whatever, if you know what I mean. And the dog's like nudging you, what's wrong? Why aren't you yourself? They can feel that, they can connect with that emotion, and our emotion can change theirs. So then we've got our response. And what I mean is this. You start getting really like sharp with the dog. Like, you know, instead of like, Arthur, come here, boy. Like I'm talking about my puppy now. Come on, Arthur. Instead, you're like, Arthur. And he's like, oh, something's changed. The emotional vibe has changed. She doesn't seem as she was 2 seconds ago. So they look, they scan, they take in all that environmental knowledge, all that emotional knowledge, and they decide their response based on that. So their response might be, I'm going to play keep away, I'm standing out here, I'm not going in. And then our response to that, because we keep on going through this ETRO, is to be harsher with them. And this is like an ongoing thing, right? All these things go on for us every single day before you put the dog in it, but the dog goes through it as well. And I'm like high level scanning this now, guys, right? But this is the things that we need to think about. And then O squared is the end, it's the outcome times 2 squared for both of us, because we are both going through that circle. I've got my book somewhere, but I haven't marked it. I'll show it to you tomorrow. Like when you look at the diagram, it makes real sense. And where we are in that process can be different. So the dog can be reading the environment, we could be on emotion. The dog can be on its response to the environment. We could be still thinking about what's going on because we haven't read the environment as fast as the dog has. Yeah, all understand what I'm on about, what I'm talking about that with that. Like the dog can scan a field and be pretty much aware of what's going on. If a dog can find a drop of blood in an Olympic swimming pool, it knows pretty much what's in that field pretty fast. We aren't as quick as humans to read everything. It takes us sometimes a little bit more because our senses aren't as developed as a dog's. So we might be more like aware of things in a emotionally intelligent way, as in there isn't anything in this field to be scared of. We can see, we can scan, etc. But the dog's seen it very, very differently. And what happens is people really get stuck in this loop, okay? And they compete. Let's use that word. They compete with the dog because the dog's an individual creature in its own right with its own process. We are then trying to get that process to align with what we've got going on. Yeah. And that's not always easy. To work as a team takes time. But with regards to what we're talking about here, which is state first, for us, we have to get really, really good at noticing what state our dog is in. And that only needs us to observe and to learn. So, like I said to you, my example here with today, going to the thing, Matt has known for many years what today will look like, because right at the beginning, it was exactly the same for him. It still is for him today, because he's still got to sit and hear what's going to happen to me. But he can read my state, and he also adapts his behaviour to go with that. We need to get good at that with our dogs. It doesn't mean that we let them get away with murder, but it does mean that we've got to think a little bit about, well, what is their body telling us? What's going on here? What am I seeing and what am I not seeing? And then we can go from there. So if the dog's not settling in the house, and the experts are going to go through all the fab stuff that we need to do to look at that next week in our challenge, we need to be like looking, thinking, well, what is it? What's not making them settle? Is it a behaviour pattern? Is this something they're aware of? Is there something going on outside? Is there the kids running around upstairs and the dog's just very aware of it? You know, what is going on and why is that going on? So we need to also get really good at reading our dogs, okay? And what I mean by that is body language. We're really good, or most of us are quite good at seeing what other people are telling us with their body language. We've got to get good with the dog as well, because we tend to sometimes always go to the dog's doing it on purpose, the dog is annoying me, the dog's frustrating me, because we've got loads on our minds. And it's not our fault that we automatically go there. We've had a hard day, a hard week, a hard hour, we've still got to cook, we still got to do all these things, and you know, and all this going on, and then the dog's pacing back and forth, and you're just like, oh my God, my mind is going to blow up any minute now. I just need the dog to sit still. But we don't give ourselves a little minute of a moment to sort of like look at the dog and see what the patterns are, and then change their state, because we can help a dog change their state, like just like we can with our children, where they fall over and they look to us and they're like, oh my God, what should I do? And you're like, come on now, up you get, all good, no problem. And then the child can read off us what their emotional state can be. We can teach our dogs what their emotional state can be. It is easy, not easy to do. It is easier to do once we know the steps, and our experts are going to teach us that next week. So the framework I've given you, ETRO, is in the Thoughtful Dog Trainer book. It's there for you to go through. But I just want you to take some of that away with you tonight and just think about it and just think, okay, where am I and where are they, and how are we going to use this in our next session or next interaction? Like literally look at your dog today, like right now, if they're in the room with you, what are they doing? Is your state and their state matching? What's going on in that process? And then just know that your emotional state, if you're wrecked, if you're exhausted, if there is nothing in the tank, that is not the time to try to train. That is not the time to try and fix something. So like this evening, took the dogs for a walk. Normally we're out anywhere between half hour to an hour. After 20 minutes, because of the day, I was just like, I'm done. I'm done before I even start. And I didn't get bad news today. I was told the tumour's grown a tiny little bit. It's the same every time I go. The tumour's grown a tiny little bit. We're just monitoring it. See you next year. A little bit of a wave. Wish my consultant a Merry Christmas, and we go from there. But I had nothing left in the tank to give those dogs tonight, and I didn't have anything in the tank left to give myself. So it was better for me to say, before the pup inadvertently did something that wasn't right, and me not having the right mindset to correct him, did something that would affect our relationship, it's easier for me to say, we've had 20 minutes. It's not 30, it's not 50, but it's 20, and that's all I can give right now. So thinking about that. So we need to drop our myths about them being naughty, that we need to walk their legs off, all that stuff. We need to drop these myths and start really thinking about what it is that's stopping them from settling, and what it is that's stopping them from switching off, and why we can't get them to switch off around us inside the home or outside of the home. Tomorrow, join me for our next live. I hope you're enjoying them. Give me some thumbs up, some yeses, some little clappies, wherever you want to give me. If you're enjoying them. Tomorrow night we go on another one, another 15 minutes. Oh, sorry, I tell a lie. It's not tomorrow night. Tomorrow I'm going to do it at lunchtime, so that the people in the middle of the day who might not be able to see us in the evening can see it. And also because tomorrow night our members have their calls. So tomorrow night our members have new member orientation, and they also have their Ask Us Anyway. Ask Us Anything. So I don't want them to break that at all. I want to make sure that I'm there for them. So we're going to be doing this at 1:30, but we will record it, and we will be able to like leave it there for you as a replay. We're putting it on YouTube as well. These little mini sessions are not going anywhere. We're also putting it on the podcast as well, so they're there. If you want to join us next week for a Switch Off and Settle Down challenge, there are 1,823 of you booked in at the moment. It's absolutely bonkers. I literally think this will be one of the biggest challenges we've ever had, and we are super, super excited. Normally, I don't say the number because I don't like to scare the experts, because they are amazing at what they do, but, you know, it's a big crowd to perform in front of, really, isn't it? Like 1,800 people in a room would be quite shocking for anything, but they are absolutely brilliant at what they do. At 1 or 1:30, please. Let me tell you, I've written it down in my diary, because I can't remember anything if I don't. 1 o'clock. We're at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and we're going live there. So remember, your dog's not broken, okay? Right? It's not broken. You're not broken. There is a way forward. As sometimes we look at our dogs, sometimes I read the emails I get from you guys, and you are so overwhelmed and so upset, and you feel guilty that you're letting the dogs down. You are not letting the dogs down. It's a learning process. We can go through it all together, and we can go from there. Is there anything else I wanted to say? No, I don't think so. That's all for night, for this evening. I'm glad, Facebook, that you had me. I don't know if there's any comments. Give me a second. I'll have a look. Just make sure that I'm not leaving you all. Bless you. I can't see any comments. I'm terrible at this. I can see lots of thank yous. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that you're enjoying these. I see what dogs you've got. I'll have a little read through those a little bit later. And we'll go from there. Have a lovely evening. Watch your dog. Watch their state. State first. Remember that every time you're out and you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? State first. And we shall speak to you all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Good night. See you all. Bye. Goodbye, Facebook.